what does next week look like? Give me the headlines, because we're obviously so stuck on when Rodgers can make a decision and what's happening with Lamar, what happened with him. What give me the stars of next week outside of those two.
Well, and we know how it goes by now. Ever since the NFL put that negotiating window in place, even though free agency technically opens on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, it starts at noon. When you go on the air Monday, that's when it starts, because what's going to happen is the negotiating window opens, but within 5 minutes, by the time you're live and come back from the top of the hour break, there may be news that someone has agreed to a deal with someone. That's what happens. And by the time that the league year officially begins, some 52 hours later, 80% of the action may already be resolved. Then I think the biggest available name out there is Eagles defensive tackle Javon Hargrave. He's probably going to get paid a ton of money by someone. He's the top free agent on our list who wasn't franchise tagged. Orlando Brown, the Chiefs tackle, is going to hit the market. The name that I'm fascinated by is Baker Mayfield, though. We mentioned the Raiders in the context of Aaron Rodgers. I won't be surprised if the Raiders make a play for Mayfield. Josh McDaniels, the coach there, was tied to him 5 years ago before the draft, and McDaniels had a front row seat for Baker Mayfield showing up in L.A. and 48 hours later erasing a 16-3 deficit against the Raiders on a Thursday night. And that just would be kind of a sneaky move by McDaniels to have a bird in the hand at the position and see what he can do while they figure out their long-term plan. And look, 2018, Mayfield was good. 2020, he was better. 21, he got injured week 2 because he made a tackle after he threw an interception. And he's never really had a chance to be the same since then. So that's the guy that I am most intrigued by, and that's the guy that, relative to all these other quarterbacks, is the one whose name gets mentioned the least.
Hey, man, if I'm Baker, I want to go to Tampa. You know what I mean? Like that would be a spot where I can get a job. I've got great receivers. I can throw it and have an opportunity to tell Kyle Trask, sorry, it's my job here. In Vegas, clearly, McDaniel says he wants to have somebody that grows there for a long time. And that's part of the reason why they're not interested, apparently, in Rodgers, which kind of makes no sense. I mean, if you clear Derek Carr's numbers off the books, you're close, right? I mean, I know that this is simple, probably overly simple, and that the math doesn't add up, but you can still move stuff around. Why aren't the Raiders interested in Rodgers and get Davante Adams going and the whole world going to Vegas just in time for the Super Bowl season? Make the big-ass splash. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Well, the betting odds come out from time to time, and the last time I checked, the Raiders were the favorites. And I don't know whether that's because enough people are putting money on the Raiders that it skewed the numbers, but I always wonder, what does Vegas know that the rest of us don't know? But my big picture take on the Raiders is Aaron Rodgers and Josh McDaniels. I don't know that McDaniels' style of coaching is going to work with Rodgers. So the question becomes, how much of his own personal style does he want to stick in his back pocket so he can get the most out of Aaron Rodgers? And we talked to him at the scouting combine about whether Tom Brady has ruined him on other quarterbacks. And really, if Brady's not there, the next best thing is Rodgers.
Of course.
So if you're getting Aaron Rodgers, then, if I have to tiptoe around the delicate genius, I'll do it. I'll do it because it's Aaron Rodgers. If I have to be something other than Bill Belichick West, I'll do it. And so it hasn't made sense to me, because when Aaron Rodgers was at Pebble Beach, anytime someone asked him about the Raiders, there was just this undercurrent that the Raiders were the place he was possibly heading. But you're right, as we get closer and closer to it, there's been no indication. It doesn't mean something's not happening behind the scenes. The Packers have kept their mouths shut. Maybe the Raiders are keeping their mouths shut too, and they're working out something quietly, and then boom, it just hits, and we're all surprised, and we process it, and we move on.
Yeah, he can go hook up with Davante Adams. It's not a long flight from Southern California if he wants to go see the ocean on an off day. I'm serious here, and Mark Davis gets the Raiders back as relevant as they've been in quite some time, and it's the Super Bowl season, and just to tell the entire fan base, we are going for it here, and let's try it out. You draft Will Levis or whoever at 7, and that person can sit and watch Aaron Rodgers in the same way that the Jets are planning to have Zach Wilson learn at the knee. Honestly, it just makes complete sense on every level. I don't understand it, and I'll just leave it there. It's a head scratcher, man.
we have never seen Mahomes and Rodgers on the field together because there's always been something that's thrown it off, injury or whatever. COVID last time around in 2021 kept Rodgers from facing Mahomes. We'd be guaranteed 2 Mahomes and Rodgers in 2023. I mean, Rodgers, Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson becomes the worst quarterback in the division by far, and he's a potential Hall of Famer.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.